All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jane Stevens. I'm the training manager here at Zolo. And today we're talking about, well, actually, we're leaving it up to you what we're going to talk about. It is an open chat. I am joined here by Jane Pearson, who's one of the growth managers here in Toronto. Good morning, Jane. How are you? Oh,
Good morning, everybody. I'm great. Hopefully you all are.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me today. So as I said, today is a open forum chat. So bring your questions, ask away. We can talk about all things CRM, leads related, any questions you have, definitely let us know. And I will kick it off just by letting you know where to direct your questions going forward. So as your growth managers, we are dedicated to helping you get deals done. So that's really our focus. We have some extra support that's just been introduced, which is super exciting. So if you do have questions going forward about your CRM, about the neighborhoods that you want to either turn on or turn off, if you have questions about leads, all those sorts of things, we do have a Zolo Realtor Support line that you can now utilize. So you can email team@zolo.ca. That's probably going to be the quickest way. Just the same way, like when you message the deals department, that's usually the quickest way to get a response from them. Reach out to team@zolo.ca. There is a phone number available as well. So 236-833-5282. It's on the screen, but I will drop it in the chat because again, that's where you can address all of your CRM related questions. And as I mentioned, as your growth managers, we're here to assist you with deals. So if you have questions about that, definitely let us know. So let me drop that in the chat. And Jane, I'll let you introduce yourself and let everybody know your background, how long you've been in real estate, how long you've been with Zolo, just so for those of you who don't know Jane already, she can introduce herself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jane Pearson. I've been in real estate for 8 years now. I'm a broker. My management previous to that is in sales and management. I have a really fantastic team, 106, now known as the Dream Team. And I am switching to the team lead position effective Saturday, which with all of the new support that's been put in place will give us all a lot more time to spend with all of our agents on the actual sales process. And that's about it about me.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, while I'm waiting for you guys to start the conversation, this is up to you. This is, like I said, an open Q&A, so please chat with us, drop your questions in the chat box. There's a question field as well. Before we do that, I will just launch a poll just so that I have a better understanding of who's joining us here today. So you guys can see that I've just launched a poll. It basically just asks a few simple questions. How long have you been licensed? I'd love to know how long you've been with Zolo. And in addition to that, have you used the Zolo Academy, which I'll introduce in the next slides? And then how many deals have you done? It doesn't matter, leases, buyers, I didn't specify today in the poll, so just let me know what you've done, what your experience is, how long you've been licensed, all that information, just so that we know who's joining us here today. So while I wait for your responses there, I will show you the calendar for April, but this is the last webinar of the month. So next month, I will be posting the new calendar for May in the workplace group. So hopefully you guys are all members there. Hopefully you guys are all part of the training channel, because this is where we post the calendar and links to all of these training sessions. So as you guys know, every Monday and Wednesday, we always offer a new agent orientation, but that is not limited to new agents just joining Zolo. If you have CRM questions, which of course we can address today, that is something we talk about every single Monday. So join us on Monday at 12 o'clock. And then on Wednesdays at also 12 o'clock, we talk about web forms. So it's kind of part 1 and part 2 of the new agent orientation. Part 1 really focuses on how to manage your leads, how to talk to them, how to convert those calls to showings, so that on Wednesday, you know, you can talk, we can prepare you for actually writing those deals. What happens once you show somebody something that they like and they want to move forward with? And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we offer a bunch of different things. So we'll post the May calendar coming up soon. All right, so I've got about half of you who have voted so far on this poll. So how long have you been licensed? How long have you been with Zolo? Have you used the Zolo Academy? And how many deals have you done? I'll give it just a couple more seconds here to see who else will vote. And I'm still admitting people into the room. And let's end the poll there. Awesome. Good stuff. So really interesting. So it looks like actually most of you have been licensed over 5 years. So that's really exciting to see. Thank you for joining the webinars. It's nice to see that seasoned agents are joining us. How long have you been with Zolo? So I have 55% of you have been here less than 6 months. So welcome to Zolo. Have you used the Zolo Academy? 65% of you have said yes, and 25% of you have used some of it. So that's also really great. That's something that we just introduced at the beginning of the year. So we are tweaking it, we are adding to it. You know, you can find the webinars, the pre-recorded webinars, you can find them there. And then of course you can find all the information that you need in bite-sized pieces. So you don't have to listen to a whole 1 hour webinar. If you want to learn how to submit an offer, you can basically, you know, find the content in the Academy and just take what you need when you need it. How many deals have you done? I've got 30% of you have done more than 10. So great, we have a really good group of seasoned agents here today, and 20% of you haven't done any yet, but looking forward to it. So that's awesome. Good stuff. Thank you guys for participating and answering those questions. So let me see, I've got the chat box starting to ring bells. So let me just see. I'm going to stop sharing these results and we'll get started with our Q&A. All right, I'll get to that at the end. Why don't we do that? All right, so let's kick it off here. Penny is asking a question. We need to know the coverage area. For example, do we have someone covering Niagara region in Moncton? Yes, I've seen some leads come in from Moncton lately. It's on in Moncton. Jane, how would we find out who is covering what region? What's the
within agents?
Yeah, so needing to know who covers which area. So for example, do we have someone covering Niagara? What's the best way?
We do. Well, for my team, what we do, we have a separate workplace page. So I always am encouraging the agents on our team to post where they work so they each know. Also, Denise and I act as intermediaries. So generally the agents will reach out to me to find out who on our team works in different areas. Our team members work very collaboratively, as I think do most solo agents. So I think on workplace as well, periodically there's a request for everybody to post there where they work. But as of now, I'm not aware of any specific report that we can run for that.
Awesome. All right. Thanks for that. Yeah. And I'm seeing somebody chime in as well. Usually we send it on the referral page and wait. Yeah, absolutely. So use the workplace group. There's a referral channel in there. So if you have a lead that's come in, I really encourage you guys not to just auto transfer it. Don't use the auto transfer button. I know Jane is going to say something about that.
No. Yeah.
Just because it goes, it will go somewhere, but then, you know, the agent that receives it isn't anticipating it. So really we want to have customer service always top of mind. So just take the extra minute, post it on the referral page in workplace. Someone will pick it up and you can transfer it manually to them. So yeah, the auto transfer button, Jane, go ahead.
Yeah, I always have to speak to this because there are a few points to go with this. One, when you're auto transferring, it's very discourteous to your colleagues. If you don't want to deal with it, you put it in the auto transfer. All you're doing is shooting it to somebody else who clearly sees who's auto transferring. So A, it doesn't build your reputation with your colleagues. And B, you know, we all have leads dropping into our phones and they're good. They're really, really good quality leads. We have, we're getting leads now for up to say $12 million and they're in there and the Zolo bot assigns randomly. So for every call you don't make is a possible lost opportunity. So yeah, be courteous, make the call for the client's sake, for Zolo's sake. You know, we're all getting the leads. At least help filter through everything and categorize.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for addressing that. Yeah, the auto transfer button is, yeah, really something that shouldn't be used. Take the extra minute.
Yeah, and I will confess, as GMs, we have begged for the auto transfer button to be removed just because it's so frustrating for agents and the leads, and it's really unfair to agents and leads. So do your part, pick up the phone, talk to the lead, make a note on the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what do I do for unsuccessful offer documents? Can I delete them or do I have to keep them and submit them to the office?
Well, everything should be in a transaction kit. I've always kept a separate file on my own computer anyway, whether offers are successful or not successful. As far as liability goes, I encourage everybody to upload, and I do upload into transaction kits, failed offers as well. It's record keeping. And in the end, all of these transactions are owned by the brokerage. And the brokerage needs to have access to the history. So everything should be uploaded into documents. And you can just say failed offer. I always go failed to offer the agent name.
Yeah, so when you guys are preparing offers, obviously you're preparing them in web forms. So you're creating transaction kits right away. So yeah, just change the status. It always defaults to opening when you're preparing that offer. So just update the status. If it is failed, just change the status to failed and just leave them in there. As Jane said, we do keep it for record tracking purposes, which is why we don't have the ability to delete those transaction kits, because the deals department needs to see them if there's, I don't know, ever a question about them in the future. But if you do have a transaction kit that maybe you're using as a test and you're just playing around with things as you get started, you can, mark those, you can rename them as delete and ask the deals department to delete them. Don't make a practice out of that though, they are busy. So that's really the only way you can delete something if it's there.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to keep the test kits, just mark them test kits. So when deals is in your web forms, it's clear to them that it's a test transaction and they don't need to act on it.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, unsuccessful offers, yes. So if I have a signed BRA with a client, but still Zolo transferred the lead to someone else, what should I do?
Well, previously you would reach out to your GM, effective, I guess, yesterday. Now you reach out to the Zolo support team and they will move it back. And don't take it personally. It happens to us all. I have a client that just was flipped out this morning that I'm showing this afternoon. So just reach out to support and will move the lead back to you.
Yeah, so if you have a signed BRA, that's your client. If it does, if the Zolo bot does something weird in the back end where the lead gets transferred, it's still your client. We'll transfer it back to you. If you do the advanced search in your CRM, you'll be able to see whose CRM it's in. Ask that agent to transfer it back to you, or yes, escalate it to team@zolo.ca.
And again, can I just want to say, you don't have to have a BRA. I am always reminding my team, when you are speaking to leads, when you update, that's great. It tells the CRM what you've done, tells the Zolo bot, write in your own notes, because if you're chasing a lead and somebody, I guess we won't be handling it anymore, but I would go in and the other GMs would go in, and if agents run different teams and we can see, okay, well, this agent made all these notes about these conversations. Oh yeah, they talked about this, they're looking for this. And the other agent made none. Well, who's going to get the lead? The one who made all the notes. So make sure you're always making your own notes. And I always, like, if mine transfer to you, you'll see I make a note, because now as team leads, we'll be trading as well. So I make a note, blah, blah, showing this client, so on and so forth. If this ends up in your CRM, please transfer back to Jane Pearson. I just write that right in now. So if someone opens it, you should be looking at the notes and the activities before you make calls. Then you can easily see, oh, okay, this agent's working with them, and just shoot it back.
Yeah, and just to revisit your initial question, Henny, I know you're asking again, how you can know who's covering which area. The answer really is that we don't have a master list of every single agent and every single area they're working in, primarily because not everybody is working in just one area. There's multiple areas. One area might be their focus over another. So really the best answer to your question is, if you do have a lead that is in Niagara, for example, the best thing to do is post it on that workplace group in referrals. Again, we don't have a master list, unfortunately. Deepti, I see that you have your hand up. Do you want to go ahead? You're muted at the moment. There you go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Actually, my question is that I was with a client and I showed him couple of listings that I might discuss with Jane last time too. And then the listing agent, they don't have any name on the contact. My client want to put the offer. We wouldn't able to put the offer because there was no contract and nothing. And then next day when the agent just emailed me that property is gone. So when I told this to my client, he just back off. So where is my mistake? And he just said that I'm now working with my other friend, and this is going to be happen now. This is like almost I'm going to close the deal, and it is happening. Like it's been now my third time.
Deepti, can I just clarify? You said you don't, the listing agent's name isn't there. Where are these listings? Where are you finding the listings?
It was on MLS.
Okay, and there was no brokerage named there? Was it a
The
mere
brokerage name was there, but when I was trying to click the link of the sales rep, salesperson's link to contact him, his phone number was not there, his email address was not there. So I contact to the brokerage, and they said that we leave the message for them, we page them, but I didn't receive any response from his end. And next day he just mailed me in the morning that that property is gone. And
well, honestly, I find that a little suspect, and that's very frustrating. I know agents on my team have dealt with something similar, and then generally I'll watch to see if the listing agent sold the property themselves. But if you're not getting an answer from the agent, and it does happen, and it's very rude, reach out to your GM team leader. Some agents will really get the hair up on their neck, and they'll call the broker record at the brokerage. But, you know, certainly we can call for you. If you're not getting a response, we can reach out to the broker record or the manager at that brokerage.
Okay, because the whole day I was waiting, and next day morning he just emailed me, and then my client get angry and he just stepped out.
Okay, here's my challenge to you, Deepti. Research and see who the co-op was on that deal.
I didn't get you. Who was the co-op?
I have a challenge for you. Research the property and see who the co-op was.
Okay, I will look for it. I don't know yet.
Yeah, so see if that listing agent double-ended it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's too bad. I know it's frustrating when that happens. It happens more than it should, honestly. Yep. But yeah, when you have that situation arise, as Jane said, reach out to us, and if we need to escalate it to to their managing broker, we will do that for you.
Okay.
And otherwise, deeply, you got to put, now it's done. You got to put the negative energy out of your brain and move forward.
Yes,
don't let it niggle at you.
Yeah, I'm trying to move out, but then I found the other clients on Zolo, and I'm starting to showing them. I did show a couple of property to them, and now they're just not picking up the phone, and they just gone for no reason.
You know what? This is where, this is the beauty of the new team lead position, because we're going to have a lot less time used up by admin. Or admin duties that the GM role carried. So reach out to your team lead, because that's what we're for as GMs and team leads. We our job is to help you through deals. So reach out to your team leader, because your team leader can probably give you some feedback on what might be tripping you up in the process.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so lots of questions coming in. This is great, guys. Feel free to raise your hand and we can chat if you don't want to type in the chat box, but I'm going to try to get through these. Usually I read the questions and try to, ask all of the related ones at the same time, but I'm just going to go through this because the list is piling up, which is great. Okay, so it says there are a few leads who have 3 accounts with Zolo and assigned to 2 agent. What needs to be done in this situation? Jane, do you want to jump in again?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Somebody has their microphone on and is chattering and distracting people, I think. As far as that, it happens all the time. We've seen leads with 14 different identities, but when you see it, with GMs, we used to try and sort it out. Then we thought, no, it's better if agents just speak to each other. But again, it comes down to the notes. So if your team lead GM, is looking, or 2 GM team leads are looking, or 3, again, it's going to come down to the notes. Who's made notes that they're working with the person? Because if someone says, oh, well, I've been working with them and so on, so well, okay, that's great, but the notes don't show it and the other agent does. And I will also tell you that we do get instances where, and I always hate calling agents to tell them this, that the leads are double timing them. The leads are specifically working with 2 agents without disclosing to either agent. So that does happen periodically. But again, you got to look at the long game in this business and the numbers overall. So when it happens, sort it out, move on, find another deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. All right. So is Zolo working to enhance the CRM, like adding a calendar or merging accounts that belong to the same lead and so on? So yes, the CRM is always evolving. The tech team is always looking to improve it. I do know that right now, as it stands, your follow-ups should be integrated into your Google Calendar. So as you know, when you go and check your Zolo emails, you're basically signing into a Gmail account. You should see all of your scheduled follow-ups in your calendar. So yeah, there's still work to be done to integrate other things, but Jane, do you have any other information on that? I know that you
I do not. No, I do not. I'm not. I know tech is working on it and it's one of the priorities for the quarter, but I'm not sure what's going on with it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that one definitely, it's always evolving, it's always improving, they're always making tweaks. So yeah, definitely if you have a suggestion, even I think there is a spot in your CRM where you can suggest things, but reach out to your team lead if you're looking for something specific to show up in your calendar. It may very well be an easy fix that they'd be willing to do. So yeah, thanks for that. Okay, Rep Neat, welcome to Zolo.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so getting lots of lease leads, but none is fruiting to showings or offers for various reasons. Is this normal, and what extent do we search or follow up with the clients?
Okay, I'm gonna ask, first of all, what's your approach, and are you starting right off by asking for documents?
No. So I first find out like the property they're looking for, like, and what their requirements are. And then I go into the details of, of course, if they're working and, the general questions, how many people will be occupying the property, and also what's their average income. Just so that when I go to the other listing agent, I have all the information to see if we can take it to the next step. However, what I find is, of course, just to give you quick examples, some people were looking for where they didn't want the basement rented out, but they only can have so much monthly rent that they can give. Or I have people, where they have a disability or pets, and so far these are the examples or scenarios that I've ran into. But what I needed to know was I am looking at similar properties that meet the requirements to see, what other things can I offer. But I just needed to know, so far, like I haven't gotten any luck, but is this normal, and what is or should be the right approach to get this to the next step?
Okay, so there are lease clients or leads that you won't be able to work with. And those you need to gently and politely redirect maybe to Kijiji.
Okay.
And just reinforce with them, oh, there's a couple, okay, so if it's pets or they, you can get a little bit of a general idea with them. So two minds, I have two forks in the road here. One, if you're not going to be able to help them, it always helps to explain that landlords that are using realtors are very particular and they're looking for a minimum standard for clients. So don't start asking them, what do you make? What do you this? What do you that? Just say, okay, landlords in the current market are looking for, and then just list what the landlords are looking for. You're not picking, and you don't have to ask like very specific questions generally till they'll start giving you information. And my other line is, if you think there's a chance they qualify, get in front of them. Just get in front of them, because you don't know. One of the most fun things about this business, I think, is when 4 years down the road or something, you'll get a message or a phone call from someone. They're like, hey, we want to do something and we want to work with you. It's pretty fun. So you're building relationships, and we say this over and over and over again. You don't know, we have, you don't know who you're getting in front of. And a lot of people are private and they don't want to disclose. And quite frankly, I'm like that. I wouldn't give anybody information about myself until like I'm in front of them. I need to sort of feel if I trust them or not. If anybody on the phone started asking me, what do you make? What do you this? I'd say, hey, listen, it's okay. I'll work along on my own. So be cognizant that you're getting the information in kind of a roundabout way, and blame the landlords.
Yeah,
Perfect.
make the landlord the bad guy for sure. Yeah, that's what I suggest as well. When you pre-qualify the lead, make the landlord the bad guy, right? It's them that have a certain requirement. That's what they're looking for. They've, hired a realtor to ensure that they're getting, tenants who qualify. Sometimes even more than they need to in order to qualify for a mortgage, right? So I understand the frustration from, lease leads sometimes, but just have that conversation, pre-qualify them. If they are somebody that you can work with, in other words, they're qualified, then convert that call to a showing, show them the property they inquired about. Hopefully you're also showing them others, right? So send them a list from MLS of other properties, because you want to get through these deals as quickly as possible. You want to convert that call to a showing, meaning multiple showings all at once. And then that just increases your odds of showing them something that they like, so you can get to the offer stage.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Both of you.
Wait, remember, every opportunity you have to get in front of a lead is an opportunity to interview.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them an opportunity to interview you. So get in front of people.
All right, awesome. Thanks, both of you.
absolutely. I know we have some more questions in the chat. I just want to give, we've got a couple of hands up as well. So Miriam, good morning. Or good afternoon.
Oh, hi, yes. Yes, good afternoon. Thank you actually for this session. I think this is very helpful and very informative. So I have few maybe questions. First about the CRM. I know you mentioned that the CRM is going to be updated, because I found that sometimes it's very, very confusing, and it's difficult to going through all these and finding out the information. But I have one situation that I got the lead that, the text was sent to me, and then there was an auto reply that it was sent back to lead and my name was in there. And then in the afternoon, I called that a lead, and then I tried to help that person get the information. And then she said, at the end, I said, okay, just I will, send you some property. And then she said that I had a call from somebody else, but it was not you, and your name was, her name was not Mariam. And she was kind of like that, didn't trusted me. She thought that, okay, I'm just calling, is a fake call, something like that. I went through all the note to find out who was that person, but I couldn't find any note in CRM. So I just felt very bad, because it was kind of like that. It was, I called the client and she didn't trust me, and I didn't know. Anyway, so I didn't really follow up with that client. But I just want to know, in this situation, how can we find that if somebody else reach out to the client and we just not get embarrassed?
I don't actually, I don't have an answer for that. I think right now, because they're working on the CRM, we're seeing a little bit of odd things. So for instance, the client I mentioned earlier, I got an email from him. He forwarded me an email of a property he's interested in, but coincidentally, the email had gone out from a client, an agent on my team named Artie Mita. So of course I reached out to Artie right away, and I said, Artie, this, just to let her know I'll look after this. But in the meantime, I think until the CRM, they finish working on it, we're just going to have to deal with it case by case.
Okay. Now I have another a question. I'm not sure you can, I should mention it here. This is regarding one specific client that I have right now. This client was bankrupt a few years ago. So the credit score that they have is not good based on that bankruptcy that they had a few years ago. And I guess it takes 6-7 years to get back to the good score. But they have a good income right now. They have, they have a reference, they have, everything is good. But the score is not good. So I know before I'm putting any offer, I talked to an agent for one of the property, a listing agent, and she said no, because the credit is not good. It said no. So how can I approach, or how can I help this client in this situation?
Well,
so I think Jane said this earlier. Unfortunately, we can't help everybody, and that is a really tricky situation. You may, if this particular lead is interested in a property, you may even give them the listing agent's number. The listing agent was quick to say no to you, but maybe they might be a little bit more inclined to help if they're double ending the deal. At the end of the day, you're helping them, the client who's inquired. And if it's going to be difficult for you to get them across the finish line, then maybe refer them to the listing agent, or if not, it's going to be really difficult for them to find a property with a low credit score. It's so competitive right now. Even AAA tenants are having to apply more than once.
Yeah.
So one question is that the guarantor, if they have a guarantor, is that really helping with this situation?
Well, It could, and in some instances, tenants are prepaying up to 18 months in advance, I've seen. But either way, keep in mind the landlords it's extremely difficult to evict a tenant who stops paying. So landlords are and can be very particular about who they put in their properties.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to jump back into the chat. Munir, I know you asked a question that I believe was answered for you. So why is it that for the last 3 or 4 days, I have not gotten any leads, though I've been very active in my CRM? Yeah, so sometimes it happens. I think somebody jumped in and suggested that you log out, you log back in. That might restart things for you. But if it continues, definitely reach out to your growth manager. Definitely send a message to team@zolo.ca and just have them revisit what's going on. So there are things that are available on the back end that we can do. So yeah, just reach out. And if you're not getting leads, escalate that for sure. All right, we have another question. Some of the leads are just browsing and they fill up my CRM, leading Zolo to think that I'm getting qualified leads. So yeah, that happens. I mean, the leads are human. They might be interested, they might be ready now, and they might be ready later. So they might just have a general question initially. In other words, just looking, but to have those conversations, as Jane said, they may call you in 4 years from now, develop that rapport right off the bat and answer their questions, provide them information, be a resource to them so that they're not just asking you questions about that particular property, but hopefully others. And eventually when they are ready, they'll think of you. So it's all about building relationships. So yes, you're going to have people that are just looking, ready later as opposed to ready now, but still those are conversations to have and people to put into, maybe your database, maybe there's something that, you have where you're in contact with all of the people that you talk to, such as a monthly newsletter, which I like to recommend. So that is, a good example of somebody that you might want to target every month with an email newsletter so that you stay top of mind for them. So yes, they might be looking now, but eventually they'll probably do something. So it's your job to be top of mind for them.
Jane, can I jump in?
Oh, hey, yeah. Hello, I didn't even see you were here. Welcome.
That was me answering Monir earlier.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. So, one of the biggest misconceptions that Zolo agents have is that these are hot and ready leads. And that could be a communication error, it could be a misconception. But what all the agents have to realize is that these are Zolo clients who are using the Zolo website. But to us, they're prospects. And you have to identify the difference between a prospect and a lead. So to assume that everyone on the website is hot and ready to buy today is, it would be a wonderful dream come true, but that's not the reality of online leads. I've used other online leads and I can tell you that Zolo's leads are far better than most, simply for the reason that our clients are allowed to go onto the website, utilize all the tools, and typically are not bothered by an agent until they actually raise their hand electronically to be assisted. So the way that I like to train the agents on my team is to approach this from a customer service perspective. If you genuinely have an intention of helping other people, the law of reciprocity is that if you're helping enough people, you'll build a client, you will actually convert prospects into leads. You will actually build relationships with those users online to our website over time, and they will be converted into clients. But you can't jump the gun. You have to be patient. You have to be coming from a place of service. And if you do that, I think that you'll find that not only will your own experience improve, because you won't be measuring your success by how many houses you sell, which is tough, especially when right now we're constantly in multiple offers, but you'll be measuring your success by the connections that you're making. And like I said, through the law of reciprocity, in the end, you will see that your bottom line will dramatically improve. And so will your spirit. You'll feel a lot better just going out there and helping people than constantly thinking that you have to convert people.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Steve. So true. All right, so we do have some other questions coming in. I love the participation. Thanks you guys for this. So yeah, browsing in your CRM, still have those conversations. Why do leads slow down whenever I confirm a closed deal in web forms, even if it's a lease lead? 2 weeks of absolute silence. I haven't had that experience or seen it. Have either of you that you can address?
No, I know the CRM used to slow things down if an agent was maybe in 2 or 3 deals. But that was changed, I believe, a couple months ago. But it never did slow down leads. So that just sounds like a really odd coincidence.
Yeah, again, I would recommend escalating that. Just email team@zolo.ca and see if they can take a look at your CRM. But as Steve mentioned as well in the chat, just go ahead, turn off your CRM, log back in, just keeps things fresh and the lead flow going.
Yeah, and the other thing too that I want to touch back on something Jane said earlier is that you need to move on. Like, in other words, not all experiences are going to go exactly the way you want them to. Not all deals, not all offers, it doesn't matter. And if you really want a recipe for success, I suggest like taking a marker on your hand and writing next. And just like every time you want to reach out and strangle somebody, you just look and go, oh, next. Don't worry about it, move on. You know, I always, I tell my agents all the time, never celebrate your success too long or mourn your losses. Because it's just, you know what, you're just burning daylight. It doesn't matter. If a deal doesn't work out, next, write it off, move on to the next one. And in fact, challenge yourself. If something happens that you're not happy with, go make yourself a cup of hot tea, whatever, have a cookie. That always makes me happy. Cookie therapy is a thing. And then, believe me, it is a thing. And then, you know what, challenge yourself to turn it around. Make another connection, you know, get another showing, and then focus on that. Like, put your energy towards activities that are going to put dollars in your pocket. Don't burn daylight over stuff that doesn't work out. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, if you're struggling, start reading books that help you with the mindset in sales. And I'll give you an example because it works. And my team knows I do all these little experiments. But last year, my best friend of 55 years of age, I'm gonna try and really compress the story. So we're golfing. She's supposed to come to my house for lunch. She goes, oh, I have to go. I have a meeting with the lawyer. It was and I just, you know, spider senses went off. I thought, okay, that's odd. So a couple of days later, I see her house on the market. So I sent her a text. I said, hey, congrats. I see your house is on the market. Looks really great. Wishing you the best. So she called. She was so embarrassed. Her husband wanted to work with Frank Leo's team. And I said, hey, okay, no worries. Because to me, personal and business business will never, I don't ever want it to interfere with personal relationship. But I thought, oh, really? His name. Anyway, I thought, okay, I get she was in a difficult position, but I thought, okay, I'll show you guys. I'm going to bring the buyer. I thought, that's it. If it kills me, I'm going to bring the buyer. And I brought the buyer for their house and I got them what they wanted. So now I would go see them in their new house in Brighton a few weeks ago. And he apologized up and down that he hadn't had faith in me. I said, hey, and now they're in litigation with Frank Leo too, by the way. I said, you know what, really, it's no worries. Like, our friendship has nothing to do with business. But in my mind, I was like, boom, I did it. I brought your buyer.
That's sweet. Sweet revenge.
Yeah, it's just your mindset. It's what Steve just said. Don't get stuck in the negative or take things personally. Just decide what you want to do, fixate on it, and do it.
Yeah, just turn it around. Awesome. That's so true.
The other thing too, like, I hear a lot of people, you know, voicing opinions on the quality of the leads or not getting enough leads. And typically when I have an agent that's doing that, I'll go into the back end of their CRM and I'll see that they've got like 86 leads in their engaged audience. And I'm like, you say you have no leads? Like, you've taken, like, if I look on the back end of your CRM, you've taken like 14 people for showings. How many of these people have you followed up with? Like, how many people are you staying in touch with your clients? Are you combing through the engaged audience and seeing somebody was just online 5 minutes ago looking at a house. If you've already had an interaction with that client, they're in your engaged audience. What's stopping you from pulling data on that house, pulling the last sold comparable, educating yourself on exactly what they're looking at, and then picking up the phone and having a friendly conversation saying, by the way, I noticed you're looking at this. I really pride myself on staying on top of my clients. I noticed that they're going to be looking at offers in 2 days. If we're going to get in there, we need to book a showing quickly. So believe it or not, that call to action, it works. It really does. And believe it or not, they're not only on Zolo. I know this is hard to believe, but they're on other websites. They're on probably 4 or 5 other agents are aware of them. So you want to be the one that shows them. And it's not prying to say to someone, I'm engaged in the business of finding you a home, and I'm a professional. I saw you're looking in this area, and they're going to be looking at offers, or the last comparable sold for such and such. But taking that extra step, I've said to agents, give me like an hour in your leads and I'll have showings booked for this week.
Yeah.
Like you say you have no leads, let me do it. You watch. I'll go through your engaged audience. I'll go through your showings. I'll put you on a Zoom call while I'm doing it, and I've done it. So and then I went with them on the showing, like, because they were a less experienced agent, and I thought I would help them, coach them, so on and so forth. But like getting those leads, those fresh leads, that's the first step. But you can't get addicted for that next fix. Where's the next lead? Where's the next lead? Where's the next lead? You've got 80 people in your engaged audience. Work with them. You've shown people homes. You already have a relationship. Those are warm leads.
Yeah, I say I push the same thing with my team. Go through, you can see who's been active 3 hours ago, an hour ago, in the last 2 days. Get on the phone. Hey, and you don't ever tell them you can see what they're doing. Just get on the phone, say, oh, hi, just wanted to check in. How's your search going? Hey, there's a great house that fits what you were looking for on the market. What are your thoughts? Same as Steve said, would you like to go see it? And another thing, when agents get stuck, because all GMs have had this call about, oh, I'm not getting leads, so on and so forth. And I say always, okay, I'm sitting looking, and you're engaged, that there's 120 leads. Now picture if you had to get dressed and go knock on 120 doors, how long is that going to take you? So again, lots of you here will have heard me say this before, but agents who have not worked at traditional brokerages have no idea how painful it is. It can be really fun, but it's time consuming and painful to knock on doors, over and over. They land in your phone. Just work it. Go into your CRM.
Yeah, we're so lucky here at Zolo. If you were advertising for yourself, those are big dollars to spend, and it doesn't generate what you get here at Zolo. So yeah, I know, take advantage of the leads definitely that are sitting in your engage folder. Don't forget about them. Use that follow-up button. Make sure that you are following up with them. With properties that have sold, maybe they had an offer date, definitely let them know of that beforehand. If you didn't get to the offer date, let them know, what it sold for. If it sold conditionally, did it fall through? Like, there's so many touch points that you can have after a client initially inquires about a property. So yeah, we have some great suggestions in the chat in terms of books. The Millionaire Real Estate. Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Was that
The Millionaire Real Estate. Lex, get a dog. Realtors need them. Yeah, I agree. And some more questions coming in about the CRM. So what do you do with leads that you close and firm up? Because they stay in your top 5 client section for a long time.
Well, I don't know. Just don't stress over it. Go find it. Go work your leads.
Yeah, and that's okay if they stay in your top 5, right? They just bought something with you, so they're still in top 5.
The thing is, and on that, this comes back to focus. Always remember that your focus, what you focus on, your energy on, is like water and sunlight to a plant. So if you focus on negative, you're going to be negative. If you focus on positive, you're going to be positive. I say to my agents, I go in assuming that everybody wants to work with me and they're going to buy and refer me to their friends. And they go, well, that's kind of cocky. And I'm like, if you don't think like that, it won't happen. Like, aim for the moon, land in the stars. If you go in there, they're never going to buy. they're probably not qualified for a mortgage. All these inner doubts and inner voices, you got to knock those out. Do it however way you want, whether it's like listening to Eye of the Tiger, or whether it's eating cookies and drinking tea. Whatever it is, change your attitude and focus on, you are going to win. You're going to be successful. They're going to love you. Everything's going to go great. And then just be yourself. Don't be, that's another thing. Try not to be something you're not. Be yourself. There's all kinds of personalities out there, whether you're a sporty person or whether you're an outdoor person or whether you're a book lover, whatever it is, just be that and people will be attracted to it.
Yep. Agreed. And it's not cocky to be confident. And it's, I want to highlight what Steve said, because it's what is in your mind. No matter what anybody here thinks, what's in your mind is what they're sensing from you. So if you have trepidation and whatnot, or you're not confident in your own skills, then how can they possibly be confident in you to handle their hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Yeah, very true. All right, I want to address this question here because it's talking about personal leads. So I know that, you know, we have to enter in our personal leads, make sure that you're very specific about how you know them. But how do you deal with clients that you are referring to Zolo? So do you have any suggestions there? How do I deal with my own clients, but also registered on Zolo to browse properties?
Leave lots of notes, lots and lots and lots of notes. So whenever you enter a new client into the Zolo CRM as a personal lead, enter it, but then at the bottom it asks, how do I know this lead? And that's the place where you're going to put the relationship, where you met, what, you know, like whether it's, if you've done previous transactions with them, you're going to refer addresses, MLS numbers, whatever you can do to start, and then say, referred them to joinzolo.ca, and then you say to them, after you've entered, you say they will be joining tomorrow, this afternoon. And then when you call them, you say, okay, go on, register at zolo.ca, everything will match up. You have to basically sort of measure twice, cut once, like the analogy goes. Coming after the fact and trying to prove you know someone is it's a lot harder than doing it right from the beginning, building that that communication record with emails, text messages, and in the CRM. That's pretty much the only thing you can do. And then you can, if it is questioned by compliance, you can refer back to that. You can say, you can see that on Tuesday, April 23rd, I entered them, the lead into the CRM. I asked them to join Zolo. They joined later on. I sold them MLS 12345, blah, blah, blah. You can, and all of that support, everything that you're communicating to them will be supported. But that's pretty much, that's all you can do.
And I know that I've heard from some agents who worry that, you know, they're doing a deal with a personal lead, but they're already registered on Zolo. Just remember too, if you can't move them into that personal folder, don't panic if they're not physically there. When you go to their client profile and you enter a deal, it does ask you when you're entering the details if it's a Zolo lead or a personal lead. So that's your opportunity. If you didn't have a chance to put it in beforehand, as Steve was saying, you can put it in when you're doing the deal, and you can specify that they are a personal client, and then you can say in there how it is that you know them. So don't panic if it's not physically in your personal folder. If it is a personal deal, you do have an opportunity to enter that later. So just wanted to point that out as well. All right, then we have another question coming in about changes to the CRM. Will that prevent your phone from ringing even when my leads are off? So I can address that quickly. If your leads are, if you've turned off your leads in your CRM, you're not going to get any new leads, but the ones that are already in there in your engaged folder, they'll still be allowed to reach you. So if you don't want anybody calling you, your leads are off, reach out to your growth manager, your team leader, and then we can turn those off on the back end. I guess actually that would be something to send to team@zolo.ca, and then they could turn off your leads. It's a harder stop in the back end, and then that way you won't get any leads. But then what will happen is if that engaged lead is trying to reach out to you, it will be transferred to somebody else. So just be mindful of that. If you're not available, it's going to be sent to somebody who is. So that's why.
sorry, just to say it was an odd scenario. I had never spoken with that person before. So
Oh, okay.
the call rang through and then it was auto assigned by
Okay, so yeah.
Zolobot.
Yeah, it
on the
might have
call.
been transferred to you and landed in your engaged folder. Yeah, so if you want to take, if you want to turn your leads off, then yeah, that's the additional option. Turn them off in your CRM, but then also reach out to team@zolo.ca.
Thanks.
Similar to that, will Zolo transfer a personal lead to any other agent for any reason?
Yeah, well, the Zolobot currently isn't differentiating. So again, just reach out to the support at Zolo and let them know what's happened, and I'm sure they'll move it back. It happens to us too, so don't take it personally. It's just the Zolobot. So reach out to support to move it back for you.
Great. Thank you. All right. I have many leads in engaged in my CRM who I've never spoken with. Yeah, so that's what we were just mentioning there. Sometimes they do get transferred. If they've been previously engaged, it comes into your CRM, into the engaged folder. So just be mindful, know your numbers. Take a look at your CRM and know who you've engaged with. I recommend having a backup system, at the very least an Excel spreadsheet, keeping track of everybody that you've spoken to, so that if there's somebody in your engaged folder, that you don't recognize, then you have to reach out to them. They're being transferred to you because for a variety of reasons. Maybe the previous Zolo agent left the brokerage, maybe they're not active, and those leads have been reassigned. So yeah, just take a look, know your numbers in your engaged folder. And yeah, take a look, see who you don't know in there and reach out to them.
And at the end of the day, you know what? The system's not perfect. There is no perfect system. And again, it goes right back to what Jane and I were talking about earlier, which is focus. If you're waiting for the perfect anything, the perfect CRM, the perfect whatever, the perfect tool before you put your energy towards selling real estate, you'll be waiting until you die in your seat. Like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You're not a programmer. You don't have a job as a programmer at Zolo. So you work with what you've got and you focus on your clients. That is where your focus should be, is moving people down the pipeline, calling people, connecting with them, taking them out on showings, going to listing presentations, making offers, and moving on to the next one. That's it. You focus on that, you'll be successful. You focus on, you don't like the color of this, or you're not getting the right lead, or the sky it's not very sunny today, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah, Jane and Steve, I know will concur on this. So as a group of GMs, we've often discussed how on our teams we see the people, everybody's getting the same lead. There's no hocus pocus or anything to it. Everybody gets the same lead flow. And to us, we see very clearly, okay, the performers, the closers, the difference between the closers and the strugglers are a lot of negativity, or thinking or over planning. The closers, the people making money, are not sitting around chewing their fingernails, stressing about things. They're just out doing it. Sorry to steal Nike, but just do it.
Well, it's true. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Steve.
I was saying, my breakout girl that I told you about, Jane, before, which is like this agent that last year I dug her out of a few pints of ice cream, joking aside, she'd call me crying and because she was losing out on multiple offers and so on. And then we just had this exact conversation, just what we're talking about now. Focus on what's important, move on, next. She changed everything in the new year. She's our #1 agent in Ottawa right now. She's killing it. And I had this conversation with her because right before that phone call, I got a call from another agent, and she's only done maybe 3 deals this year, and 2 of them are personal deals, and she's fighting with compliance and she's all upset. And so I was talking with her friend, who's this other breakout agent who's done 14 deals. And I was like, oh, so-and-so was kind of, down today because she's still fighting with compliance. She says, I've had 1 or 2 deals this year. I've had 2, I think, she said, that were people I knew. But she said, whenever I got into the deal, I saw that they'd already been on Zolo for 6 months or a year. She goes, I don't have time to waste arguing with compliance. They give me leads every day. Whatever, it's their client, they can have their split, next. And I was like, well, this is why you're killing it. It's because You're not focusing on the little tiny details. Oh, that's mine. You owe me 10%. You're like, next, next, next. Like, just let's keep that lead flow going. Let's keep closing deals. Let's keep putting smiles on people's faces, and let's keep making money. Like, and she's killing it. She got COVID actually, and she was at home for 3 weeks, like dying. She really hit her hard, and her boyfriend. And the day she came back to work on Sunday, she sold 3 houses in one day. She made 3 offers, all 3 got accepted. So it just shows you put your energy in the right, it's the law of attraction, right? In case anybody hasn't heard of the secret, it's a secret.
Awesome, thanks. And for those of you who are new to Zolo, maybe you missed our Zolo conference, but go to our YouTube channel, find Zolo training. In there, there's the webinar that we did, or the breakout room that we did with top producers, and listen to them, you know, how they approach things. And really, they don't pre-qualify heavily. They prioritize those in-person meetings. They're going to showings all the time. And even if it turns out that that particular client isn't qualified, maybe they've built such a rapport that, you know, a referral comes out of that. So always go to the in-person meeting. So if you haven't listened to that, it really is, you know, clear what their mindset is. So I recommend listening to that if you have a chance. All right, I think I skipped over a question that's been brought to my attention. So last one here, again, going back to leases. So if the client is offering 6 months of rent, is that a security deposit? So on closing, he has to provide 6 checks on closing and pay each month till the end of the lease. Can we clarify that for him, Sergey? Do you guys have input on that?
What was the, so someone has agreed to take a lease, but they're also, in order to have an advantage, they're offering 6 months rent. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 6 months ahead. Yeah, 6 months ahead. And yes, and what's the next payment? They have to keep it as a security deposit till the end of the lease.
If you want, I can show. I just did one exactly like this, to exactly the same, 6 months. For one of my.
Yeah,
I did it.
Payment.
Right. So how, if you want, I can share. So I use, there's a schedule to a leasing agreement that you can use, a Schedule A. Have you used that ever before,
no.
Sergey?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the way that I did was I did the lease application with the first and last month's rent, everything standard. And then I attached a schedule of payments in this as a Schedule A to the agreement, in which I put first month rent, last month to be applied at the end, held until the end of the tenancy. The other 4 months were, you know, to pay for these months. I mean, I can, if you want, I can show it, but I mean, it's that's how I would handle it, is with a schedule.
Okay. So where can I get it?
Like, continue on with Jane, and I'm gonna pull it out, and then I can share my screen if I can find it here.
Okay.
I'll just let you guys keep talking, and I'll go look for it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we have a couple more minutes left, so I did just want to jump back into these slides. Thank you guys for participating today. If you have questions going forward, I just wanted to refer you back to the Academy, which is available to you. So in your CRM, you can find the Academy in the Tools drop-down menu. That will take you to this platform. I recommend using the courses list view because you can see everything in order. You can find things really easily. So if you have questions about the CRM, if you have questions about web forms, if you have questions about leases, and then there's also a link there to all of our previously recorded webinars if you're interested in that. So I do recommend checking that out. There's a bunch of information. I won't go through it all, but I did just want to one last time share with you guys the Zolo Realtor Support email. So reach out to team@zolo.ca if you have questions about the CRM, about your neighborhoods. There were lots of questions here today about the CRM, so direct all of those to team@zolo.ca. If you have questions about payments, commissions, that's a question to direct to deals@zolo.ca. And then we're here for you guys to get those deals done. So if you need deal support, reach out to your GM, to your team leaders. That's what we're here to help you guys with. Any closing remarks, Jane and Steve?
If you have 1 minute, I'll just show everyone what the schedule looks like.
Sure.
If you ever want to use it. So basically what you're going to use, Sergey, and anyone else, you know that you have to use the Ontario standard lease. But outside the Ontario standard lease is where you're going to use this. Do you want to continue this stuff? Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to do two things once. Here it is. So it's a form. Can everybody see this form 401?
Okay. Yes.
Can everybody see it? Yeah. So you see here schedule, and then I just titled it A and the people involved. And then here you can see I've put a rental prepayment schedule. So Sergey, like they moved in a partial month, so that's addressed right here. And then the June to the October rents are covered here. It's $2,600 a month, 5 months rent, plus the rental deposit. And then I just did the calculations for the client. In this case, there was a rental discount. And then payments to be made by our transfer bank draft certified check. So it's just, that's it. It's very simple, but anything that you need to handle whenever you're doing an Ontario standard lease that does not fit within the confines of the lease, you should use a form 401 and get it signed by all parties.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
That's super helpful. I like the way you set that up. Thanks for sharing that.
No problem. I actually have a lease I have a clause and a lease archive now with a shared Google Drive for all of my agents, and it's pretty impressive now.
Wow, nice. Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Steve, for joining me. Thank you, everybody, for participating. And yes, we do these sessions at the end of each month. So yeah, thanks again for coming, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.